It's Thursday, October 27th, and you're listening to the Geek News Central Podcast, show number 717, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Geek News Central is also sponsored in part by GoToMeeting, now with HD Faces, the world's best web conferencing solution. Get your free trial at GoToMeeting.com. Click the Try It Free button and use the promo code podcast. Hey, everyone, this week has absolutely been simply insane. I'll talk about it more here in just a second. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right. I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Who's got the button?
4,
There's no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Honolulu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Todd Cochran, and I want to encourage you to get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all our great content. We've got a great bevy of writers over there, and of course, we've got a full bevy of shows. And I've had some really exciting discussions this week about potentially some new shows coming to the network, and 2 new hosts, potentially right here from the state of Hawaii. And going to be meeting with both of them when I get back from my 2-week trip. We'll talk about that more as we get further into the discussions of bringing those 2 new shows on the network. But, of course, I want you to get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content over there. Of course, all the it's really easy to get subscribed to the shows. You'll find in the second column of the website, you'll find an RSS feed, Zune Marketplace, iTunes listing there, so that you can just go ahead and click on that and get subscribed with your favorite podcatcher or device that you're using to listen to shows, or just download the show from the website. You can do that as well. And, of course, we want you to sign up for the newsletter. There's a link up there in the top right-hand corner. It says newsletter. You just click on that. That's going to load a page up. It's going to take you right to the newsletter subscription area. And you can sign up for the Geek News Central announcement only list or the Gadget Professor announcement only list. And that way you'll be guaranteed to basically stay abreast when there's new shows that have been put on the street and are available. And that's the beauty of really staying in touch with us. We basically make it real easy for you to consume the content on a variety of different levels. Of course, this show is available on Samsung Smart TVs. And all you have to do is look for the Tech Podcast channel on your Samsung Smart TV, on the Boxy, on the Roku. You're also available on Looky TV, and every other device known to man. You can consume the content, whether it be audio or video. We do have a mobile feed for those of you that don't want to download the nice big file that is the more larger size. We do have a mobile feed for you. You'll see that in the show notes. And you can basically get whatever flavor of the show you want. So, of course, we want to welcome all of the Hana, all of you that are longtime listeners and viewers of the show. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being part of the family. And, of course, the listeners from around the world that tune in from 190-plus countries, we want to thank you for staying subscribed and really grabbing this show from every parts and every corner of the world. We, of course, want to welcome followers from Google+. We've had a huge influx of new people into the show that are watching from Google+, and a lot of submissions coming in to the show from Google+ as well. We want to thank them as well. Of course, we're live tonight on live.geeknewscentral.com, and of course, you can catch the rerun of the show there, or basically on the website as well. But always, we want you to stay in contact with the show. @Geek News is my Twitter account. Of course, you can email me here at geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, and the voicemail hotline is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 619-342-7365. We got a great call in tonight. I think you guys are going to love this. You're going to want to hang to the end of the show. I listened to a portion of this audio file, and I'm telling you, you're going to have to hang, and maybe I'll drop it in the middle of the show, make it a cliffhanger. Maybe I'll do that. I'll just run it in the middle of the show, so you guys give you guys some encouragement to listen all the way through. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Things have been crazy, crazy busy here. I almost cleared my entire task list last week Sunday, pulling like a 15 or 16 hour straight day. And today it's a good thing that I'm busy because I've had 3 major calls this week with the potential new advertisers coming to the network. I've had new business for the raw voice generator, which runs all of our websites. We've just allowed a whole bunch of content creators to have premium content into our q2.com website. We're not unlocking it yet. We're letting them get their content up there because it's really a blank shell at this point. And it's going to be interesting to see stuff as it starts getting populated on the website and put up and made available. We'll be introducing that live to all of you next week. I've kind of turned a few other people loose on it, let them look and give us feedback. We're excited about that. Just a whole other bevy. We had a press release. We've had multiple documents. I mean, just rah! It's really what it's been. And I'm like, I got a suitcase. It's 3/4 of the way packed. My travel kit for my show, for basically doing the road show, is half to our part. And I got to have everything ready to rock and roll out of here to get on an airplane tomorrow. And I think it's going to be probably like a 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning night for me. I just can't imagine it being any earlier. But, I want some guest hosts for next week. I haven't even gotten that figured out yet. So I've just been so busy with everything else because we've got, I'm leaving out of here tomorrow. I'm going to fly into Michigan, see my mom for a couple of days. Tuesday, go to Detroit, do some business in Detroit, then go to Dearborn. I've got an event with Ford Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, and then fly out of Detroit late Wednesday afternoon, get into Los Angeles. Thursday morning, we set up for Blog World and New Media Expo, have the show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it's just like, whew. And then I get on an airplane Sunday and go to Washington, D.C. So it's been, and I'm trying to think, what do I need for these 2 weeks being gone? I know I need clothes and a toothbrush. What electronics, and because I'm switching gears from one site to the other and doing some completely different things. And I got to thinking I got to FedEx a box because there's just no way I can carry everything that I need. So I got a box ready to go FedEx to go to DC when I'm leaving Blog World. It's crazy. It really is. And then trying to figure out which mix and match of computers I'm going to take this time. Because I had bought a machine to replace my Rode machine, but it's not quite ready to go. I don't know. Well, it'll all come together tomorrow one way or the other. And if I forget something, I will be breaking out my credit card, I guess. So it's been nuts. And it's going to stay nuts. I told my mom, I said, I'm probably going to have to work part of the day Sunday at the house because I got to get caught up. Business doesn't stop just because you go on, and really it's not a vacation. It's it's just a short visit, but that's life in the fast lane. That's for sure. Okay. Podcast Awards closed. Well, it was supposed to close. The programmer didn't get it shut down, or the team that in control of the site didn't get shut down on time. So I got an urgent text into him. As soon as you wake up, close voting. So there's a few extra hours of voting that are going on right now, and we'll get that shut down. But we'll do announcements of the winners at Blog World, and then we'll have the award ceremony once I get back here to Honolulu, can be back in Control Central. But of course, all of this would not be possible whatsoever without our sponsors, and our sponsors are really, they make this show and make this whole operation continue and allow me to do the things I do for you and for really the whole entire podcasting community, and us being able to put dollars in new media creators' pockets month after month. GoDaddy has been with us here since June of 2005, and we got a great deal for you this month. And of course, all my promo codes are always good to use anytime. But right now, we got a special deal where we're going to give you the ability to save 20% on Website Tonight on their 12, 24, or 36-month plans. This is a great deal. It really, really is, and it's cheap. You take $14.99, you take 20% off that, and you got a great price where you get 50 gigs of disk space, a whole gig of 1,000 gigabits of bandwidth, basically all you could ever use. Free hosting and 1,000 email accounts. Why would you ever need 1,000 email accounts? I don't know. 3,000 plus design and color combinations, 28,000 images that are royalty free, and plus almost $300 in advertising credits on other websites. And this is designed for people that are a little bit technically challenged and just want to be able to click, 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 and go. And this is the best way to do it. So the economy plan starts at $5.99. The premium plan is $14.99 a month. Again, with that 20% discount, it's huge. You'll save yourself a lot of money. And of course, we want you to, if you've got other things that you're buying at GoDaddy doing renewals, I'm probably the only site that offers a .com renewal code. You're not going to find these very often. So ComSale will get you .com renewals at $7.99. ComSale 2 will get you new .com names, okay? And it's usually $8 or $9 is what the normal price is. But Geek 5 will save you 15% on any order $20 or more. Todd 20 will save you 20% on a 1-year shared hosting account. Todd, TODD, will save you 10% on non-domain orders. There's a whole bevy of codes. All you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Use my code, share my codes, tell everyone about them. It puts money in my pocket every time you guys use the codes. It keeps this show moving and keeps the lights on, feeds my family, pays my electricity bill, the whole 9 yards. So we thank GoDaddy for their longtime support here. And I love the products and services. And if you ever have a problem, you got a direct line to me, which I have a direct line to the top, which gets you direct support access from the top. It's a beautiful thing. So definitely use me if you have issues. And the issues have been very minor over the last year. I've had a couple of people call me and say I've got a problem, and been able to help them out and connect them with the leadership at GoDaddy, and they've been really good. That's one of the advantages of using my codes and being a supporter here of the show. All right, what else in my stack here? Robot Underpants. You guys been listening to the audio version? It's been pretty cool. Eric Rice has been on that show along with Langley and some other people. Kazo's been on. These are some pretty, Kazo's pretty heavy hitter in the space. Eric Rice is well known. They're kind of doing it in Google Hangout, and it's just kind of this relaxed discussion, and it can get, I just want you guys to go listen. Robot Underpants has changed Robot Underpants has changed dramatically in its discussion. And I think you guys are going to find the show pretty intriguing. They usually record it late at night like I do this show. I think you're going to enjoy it. Of course, we've got Robot Underpants just released today, a new show. There's going to be no Saturday morning tech for the next 2 weeks because I'm going to be on the road, so don't plan anything Saturday morning. So we want to thank, of course, everyone that supports me on that as well. All right, let me go ahead here and bounce into the tech content. We'll take care of our other sponsor here a little later in the show. And let me see if I've got everything in the stack ready to rock and roll here. And I think I do. Excuse me. For some reason, when I start the show, I had no runny nose before I started the show tonight. But the last couple of shows, as soon as I start, I don't know if it's just all of a sudden I start talking a lot and it causes that. But it's kind of a weird thing. I don't know what the deal is, and there's probably some explanation for it. Maybe it's because I closed the room and the humidity changes or something like that. But there's a good article, and this is something I've been thinking about quite a little bit since the introduction of Siri. We're heading into a time when the communicator, our phones, are going to start taking on a life of their own, and also other appliances. Remember many of the science fiction shows that were like turn lights on, and the lights would come on, turn lights off. It's like the clapper, right? Clapper, lights on, lights off. And what if you could say, Siri, turn the lights off? Oh, Todd, I've turned the lights off. Or Siri, preheat the stove to 350. Or better yet, you're in your car, Siri, arm my alarm. There's all kinds of cool things that now we usually have to punch a button for, And here's what would be cool, okay? So it doesn't have to be Siri. It could be any type of voice recognition type of service. It could be like oven. Yes. Is the oven empty? Yes. Preheat to 350. Okay. Whatever it may be, there could be, how much do you guys think would be cool to have a house that would be aware of basic commands? I know one thing that I like to do here is I have solar hot water. And I'm on this big kick right now of trying to save electricity, and I'm measuring everything. I'm looking at my meter twice a day. So I'm really into a conservation mode. I'm even knowing how much exactly it costs to run this office per show. I've even got it down where I know exactly. And it's really not that bad from an electricity standpoint. It adds up. But I think it would be cool that, as the kids cycle through the showers, the temperature on the hot water tank starts to drop. And I would like it so that when the kids were in the shower, there would be some sort of automated thing. Anna, you have 2 minutes to finish your shower, because she's using her allotted part of the hot water that's going to be left for everyone else to get through, so we don't have to turn the electricity on to rewarm the hot water heater. Our houses could become so much more efficient if they were so much smarter. And I think Apple has, by introducing Siri, is going to make it possible so that, maybe in 2013 or late 2012, when they introduce the iTV, and it has got Siri embedded in it, and you can talk to your TV and find shows and change channels and record stuff and whatever else they're going to do that's going to be cool. Our houses can start to become smarter, and I could walk out the house and in my phone could, I'm sure some of this is already there, but I want it to become a bigger extension of us where we're able to save energy. You guys probably saw the self-learning thermostat that's out now. It teaches, for those of you that live in areas where you have to adjust your thermostat, you leave for the day, you turn it down, you get back home, you turn it up. The kids, mom maybe wants it a little warmer, dad maybe wants it a little cooler, and it kind of gets, it finds out what the family likes and doesn't like. So this article, again, that I found over at GigaOhm talking about a voice-controlled future, it's really here. And all this is going to cost money, but if I think about the benefits that we're going to have, man, there's so many times. It was like today I'm rolling down the highway, and I thought, I forgot to do something. It's not like I can write myself a note when I'm driving down the road, but I've got so much stuff going on. If I had upgraded to the 4S, I could have just touched the phone once and said, Siri, task, and then spelled out the task, and it could have put it in there. Instead, I got home, and I twiddled around here, did a couple things for a couple of hours, and I was like, oh, man, the task I wanted to do, so we're absent-minded. We got a lot of stuff going on. And how many times have you guys done that? I got to remember that, but if I don't remember that, I'm going to totally screw myself. And we've all done that from time to time. And nothing like the moment to be able to have it written down. Now, this week, I could have used a virtual secretary. I really could have. My phone was ringing. I was in meetings, and it was nuts. I mean, I had like 15 missed phone calls in one day. Then people I had to call back because things were just too crazy around here. And they went to voicemail. But, it'd be cool. Siri, reroute phone to office. And it'd be smart enough to reroute to extension whatever, and let someone else in the office take the call. Um, and I know some of this stuff is already here, but I think we're going to see more and more of that. And I'm excited. The days of the Jetsons, and for those of you that don't know what the Jetsons are, I'm sorry. But the day of the Jetsons are almost here. You look what Google's doing. They got a car that can drive itself. You get in the car and it's driving itself. Would I buy a car that could drive itself? Heck yeah. Okay. First of all, if it gets really good, car, take kids to school. Car, park, and when you get to school, park it in the parking lot, stay. Kids get out of school, they get in the car, bring the kids home. Now, some of you say, I'll never leave my kids to the safety of a computer. But maybe we'll get to that point, won't we? Or better yet, technology is smart enough to know that there's 3 other people in my neighborhood carpooling to the same area. And maybe our schedules match up and the cloud can tell us that. There's all kinds of cool stuff that we can do to become more efficient. Here in Hawaii, what do we see? We see lots of cars with just 1 people in them. And how many of those folks are going to the same area? And you could, think about the power of the leveraging. We got an oil crisis. So if you could leverage it so that, everything was, you could say, hey, that car's going my way. They pull over, jump in, you throw them $5 for gas, and you've got this ride share thing. There's all kinds of crazy stuff you could do if technology got smarter. But I know that I'm way off the reservation here. But what do you guys think's going to come with a voice-controlled future? Do you think this has got something that is going to change the way we work, change the way we do business, change the way we live? Is it going to change us? I think it is. Now, some of you say, Todd, I can already set my house alarm with my phone. Okay, but you still have to do something. It still takes 30 seconds to type the app and type the password in. I just want to click, hey, alarm. Alarm is armed, or whatever it may be, that is time gained back. I have such a tightly condensed schedule on a daily basis. I have to get a lot done. Some people have always asked me, how do you get as much done as you get done? And it's because the task and time management, and I'm always trying to squeak more time out of stuff. And, obviously I could use an extra body. I could use a hired hand to help me do that, but that's not the position that we're in. So you have to make the best of everything. So I'm always looking for efficiencies to try to save time. And I tell you, voice-controlled stuff really, as you can tell, excites me. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. And I'll have the link up to this GigaOM article so that you can review it yourself. I'd love to hear your feedback, of course. You can email me here at the show at geeknews@gmail.com, or the voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. What is dude? There's a guy behind you dressed in a blue uniform. All right, what is? Someone's saying that in chat. All right. Weird. Okay, whatever. Makes you want to go look in your back, like, what's back there? And someone's giggling. Okay, so here's another story that actually this is over on, I didn't bring it up. Let me copy it. It's on searchengineland.com. And it's talking about Google Plus and some stuff they did today. So Google Plus has added popular stories, post analytics, photo filter kits, and begins supporting Google Apps. So it's got the ability to show you what's hot, popular content on Google Plus. It's showing you Google Ripples. Now, this is kind of cool. They're saying, want to know how a post was shared on Google Plus? Users will now be able to view the sharing data of public hosts on Google Plus with Google Ripples. This data is displayed in a striking format, as you'll be able to click on any post and explore the virality of a post down to each individual user. So this is pretty cool. They've got a creative kit for Google Plus photos, and So what they're doing here is Google is launching an in-depth filter and effects engine, and filters can be applied along with text and images that have the ability to be added directly to an image and saved. So this is pretty cool for those of you that are not real Photoshop savvy. You can do that kind of right in with the app. And plus, Google Plus now is finally available for apps users. Now, I've got a little dilemma where I'm an apps user, and I got actually a little story to share about Google Apps that scared the living crap out of me yesterday. But Google Apps, I have a business account, rawvoice.com, and we do all our business on Google Apps. I have geeknews@gmail.com is obviously just a standard Gmail account. So I've got different people that follow me on different space, but I don't really want to bring my Google app identity into Google Plus. It's too much of a weird merge. So I'm just going to leave that off. I'm just going to continue to be in one place because it doesn't make any sense. Now they say if you want to, you'll be able to migrate stuff into your where you have it right now. You can migrate it into your app account in the future, but I don't think I want to do that. So anyway, if you've been waiting to get on Google Plus because they didn't support Google Apps, well, that's now turned on. Last night, I came into the office here. Actually, I was doing some stuff about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I went to check email, and it says, password refused, and I just hit cancel. Sometimes that happens, the service isn't quite available, and I said, I just checked email 15 minutes ago. I don't need to look at this, and I shut down Thunderbird, and I basically came back a few hours later and tried to do that again. And got the same error. And I was like, well, which account is airing out? And it turned out it was my CEO at rawvoice.com site. So I went over to the Google Apps page, and we have a specific landing page that you can go to log in. So I get over there, and it shows me the page where the login is there. So cool. So put in my CEO and then put in my password, and I hit enter to log in, and it basically brought up this error page. It said, you don't have access to this. Contact your administrator. And I'm like, I am the administrator. This is an administrator account. What do you mean, contact your administrator? And so, I think, what's going on here? Reloaded, made sure I was logged out of Gmail, and it went on about 10 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on? So I had my phone here, and I texted Brian, our creative director, who was 6 hours ahead of me. He's like 11 o'clock at night his time. I said, Brian, dude, can you get into the corporate account? And he was awake, and he replied back, says, no, what's going on? I'm locked out. And I'm like, okay, let me get the admin password. So I went into a program that we have that's a encrypted thing. I had to unlock basically this thing where we keep usernames and passwords, and I got into that, and I unlocked, okay, there's the admin password, went over to Google Apps, and I basically admin, and I entered the password, and it basically flipped me the bird. It said, you don't have access here, dude. Contact your administrator. I'm like, I do have the admin account, and I have the secondary master admin account, and I can't get in. And I was like, what is going on? And immediately I think we've gotten hacked. Someone's gotten in. They've deleted our accounts. And I'm thinking all these things. So I went over to Google Help and tried to see if there was an 800 number to call. And we're a business, but I don't think we're an enterprise. I don't think we qualified for an 800 number. I didn't have any PIN. So, you're trying to find stuff on Google. What is going on? Did we get shut down because someone thought we were spamming or what? Whatever the reason. And I copied the text off of the page where I couldn't log in, the whole code. And I tore out my email address, and I tore out the domain name, and I searched that whole segment, and there was quite a few topics about that. And I started going through 1, 2, 3, 4. I get the first page down. I'm not finding anything I haven't already tried. And I'm finally into the third page, and it says, oh, you need to use google.com/a/your domain name and try that. I mean, this is like 90 minutes in, and as soon as I did that, boom, it says, your account has been locked out because we've had a billing error. Now, I hadn't got any emails saying we're having trouble processing your credit card. I haven't got any emails saying you're about due and your credit card expiration date needs to be updated. It just locked me out and locked us all out. So one thing that was good is I was able to, 1, 2, 3, with about 4 clicks, get my credit card information in and unlock the account. And we were back in, but I hadn't used that google.com/A, which is for apps, /domain name in 2, 3, 4 years. And I had completely forgot that was another place to go to log in. Don't know why we didn't get notified, but I was tripping hard. I mean, hard. I thought, you just don't know what, and you're thinking, oh, we're backing up. I know I've got this all backed up on another service, so, you're going through, what am I going to do to get up and running again? How do we recover? All this is going through your brain, but, if you got a business account with Google Apps, keep that credit card updated. And don't go into a panic at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening when you've had a full day and you weren't ready to spend 2 hours chasing down a stupid problem from Google Apps. And but once we got our credit card data, it was quite happy. Hey, over at arstechnica.com, they've got a good article, and this actually this has been all over the net today, talking about a survey that Forrester done, and specifically talking about IT. In other words, IT, yes, the folks that we all love to hate. IT still hating on Apple. 41% block employee-owned Macs. Now, I think this is pretty amazing here. And, of course, they're saying employee-owned. Doesn't mean your employer has given you one, but it's your employee-owned Mac that you maybe try to take to work or try to access work from home. Here's some pretty amazing statistics. For the employee-owned Mac, which resources, and this is what they're asking the IT people, do you allow access to from work or home? Okay, so 51% allow them to access web-based email from their employee-owned Mac from home. 41% said, nope, nothing. You can't access nothing on the network. Internet access from work, 37%. Access to hosted applications or desktop virtualization, 21%. Internal network access, only 21%. Access to native email within the system, in other words, you load Outlook or some other application like that, 19%. How many will add security policy software on it? 14%. And here's the kicker. We'll install corporate apps on it, 6%. That's pretty amazing. This is based on 590 North American and European enterprise IT executives and technology decision makers. So it's showing that the IT market still is anti-Mac. And but part of it has to do with is so many businesses are Windows shops. Supporting a Mac is a bit of a challenge for those Windows shops. So, they're having a hard time, and basically just, from a knowledge standpoint. So there is some inroads being made. The Forrester survey found that 22% of enterprises are seeing a significant increase in the use of employee-owned Macs. The ban on activities like accessing email leaves a lot of employees to find their own ways to get around corporate prohibition. And there's employees are becoming frustrated from not being able to be productive at home. And so this is an interesting move here, an interesting study. But those of you that are IT folks out there, I'd love to hear what your company policies are, and how, basically what what's happening within your own enterprises there. Good article on Facebook talking about Facebook immune system, FIS. And apparently Facebook over the number of years here has developed their own, basically a logarithm to check everything and every process going on the Facebook site. They said the Facebook immune system processes and checks 25 billion actions every day, or 650,000 actions every second. The social network cybersecurity system was developed over a 3-year period to keep the services user safe from spam and cyber attacks. FIS scans every click on Facebook for patterns that could suggest something malicious is spreading across the social network. They've been able to keep spam at less than 4% of Facebook's total messages, which affect 0.5% of the users. And given that there's 800 million active users, that's still 4 million users being hit by spam every day. But they say that the FIS system, the Facebook immune system, is using artificial intelligence. So I don't know what to think about artificial intelligence from Facebook, but it's what they're claiming. Over on mercurynews.com, Silicon Valley a tech reporting site, they're saying that the Apple new Siri could get you in hot water behind the wheel. Here's what what's being said by the CHP about Siri. Siri maybe you can talk to Siri while driving, but just don't touch Siri. They're saying it's legal to talk to Siri as long as the phone's not in your hand, says San Jose police officer. But if you have to push the phone to activate it, or if you have to ask directions, and she puts them up on her screen for you to read, then the California hands-free law says you're breaking the law. So how does Siri work if you're hands-free? Is there a way to get it to activate? I don't know. I don't have one. So anyway, those of you in California, be aware of that. And of course, your local municipalities and state laws as well. News out of HP today. Dun, 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 dun. HP decides to keep PC division after all. Well, fantastic. They have decided not to sell the PC business. I never understood why they wanted to do it in the first place. But Meg Whitman has announced today that HP will not spin off, sell off, fold, spindle, or mutilate the company's personal systems group, the division responsible for manufacturing PCs. Instead, PSG will remain part of the company, at least until such time HP management changes their minds again. So you'll still be able to get HP computers, desktops, monitors, all that other stuff. How many of you didn't buy an HP machine that you may would have otherwise when they announced that they were going to stop? I bought a Dell. So, I've got a number of HP machines here and been happy with them, but I ended up buying a Dell because they said they were going to abandon their PC business. So I just wonder how much money that cost them, really. All right, big news all over the place. We've talked about this already on the show a number of times, but the Protect IP Act, what they're now relabeling the E-Parasite Act, which Congress is trying to push through, is getting a lot of attention from a lot of people, and a lot of big names are starting to come out and say this thing has got to be stopped. Some artists today said that, here's a quote from some artists and content creators. They say, "We, the undersigned artists, have all been empowered by the internet. Today, artists can reach large audiences and make a living because the internet and digital tools have democratized the means to create, distribute, and promote our work. We write to you today because we are concerned with Senate Bill 968, the Protect IP Act, PIPA. Copyright law exists to promote the arts, but the new penalties in PIPA could be used against the new social media channels we depend on to make a living and endanger the freedom of expression." So that has been what's been signed by a number of artists, and it's available to be signed by you as well. And basically, the meme is copyright holders win, free speech and open internet loses. And this is really creating what they're going to think is going to be a great firewall in the United States, just like they may have in China. People are very, very worried. And Tech Dirt, which has been a very vocal critic of this bill, says the new legislation would create a giant firewall of America, similar to the firewall the Chinese government used to keep its citizens from accessing certain websites and servers. And that says the new bill actually expands the range of websites that could be targeted by the bill. And there's even another one that's going after any other, like call it rogue website. We talked about that on the last show. But people are saying this has to be defeated. And so Senator John Wyden interviewed at the Web 2.0 Summit about the Protect IP Act and why it needs to be stopped. So call your congressman or senator today, or your representative as well, and say, stop this thing. And lots of articles. I'm going to have 3 linked up in the show notes. I'm not going to go any deeper into this, but there's places where you can sign basically a digital petition. I don't think those are super effective. The best way to get your congressman's attention is to write a personal email. Okay, don't write it. If you want to submit one of those form sites, you can, but those usually get deleted in mass. Just write your own email. Their email addresses are available on the Senate.gov website. Same with the House Representative website as well. So email your congressional representatives and say, stop this thing if you feel that is necessary. You know, the old media folks like Warner Brothers, they just don't stop. And it really, it really bums me out here what they're trying to do. How many of you have ever checked out a DVD from your local library? Well, we got a lot of DVDs from the library, and they have here in Hawaii. If you find a DVD title that's not in your local library, you can actually request it, and they'll ship it across town for you, or whatever it is they do with their interagency transfer of books and stuff. So Warner Brothers essentially hates libraries, and they want to embargo DVD sales to libraries for a longer period. They want to put a 28-day embargo on all DVD sales to libraries from the time the DVD releases, and they want to remove bonus features and extras from movies sold to libraries. They want to have just the movie in there. They don't want to have nothing else, which is kind of okay with me. But none of the bonus material. I never watch any of that stuff anyway. But essentially what they want to do is they feel that this will drive more sales of DVDs if they delay it coming into your library. I will just wait. Your public library system is a great resource. Absolutely fantastic resource to use to get books, DVDs, magazines, newspapers, you name it. We get our money's worth out of the library here in Hawaii. We do. The kids come home with bags full of books, and and they go through them all. That's why I have 2 kids that are both and gifted and talented English classes in high school, because we've encouraged reading and writing here in the home from day one. Now, they don't let them copy some of my writing sometime, because believe me, I'm not the best, but my kids have definitely inherited my wife's writing skills, and they do well. So, but Warner Brothers just doesn't get it. They really, really don't. Hey, let's take a moment here and talk about, give a sponsor message here to Citrix GoToMeeting. You guys know that I have been a big fan of this product for a very long time. I have the ability to attend meetings and have meetings almost virtually anywhere. And being able to work on the go and travel as much as I do, this is a tool that allows me to have an impromptu meeting on the fly almost any place. I can fire my laptop up in my car. I can get in my iPad, attend a meeting, you name it. It's really easy to do business these days virtually. You can host your meeting online from your computer, while your attendees join from any computer or an iPad, and now from an iPhone or Android device. And with the free GoToMeeting app that's available in the App Store or on the Android Marketplace, you download it, and with just a tap of the invite in the email, they can join the meeting. It's really that easy. And of course, you can see the host desktop right there. We had a meeting this past Saturday with some people, and I turned on my camera, and they hadn't seen the HD Faces part of this, and they're like, "Wow, we can see you!" And I'm like, "Yeah, enable your camera?" And so they were all like, "Wow, we know." So we had everybody's faces over in the monitor over here, and I had the desktop here that was doing all this stuff for the meeting and going through, and it was kind of like this. It's like we were all at a desk together. It was awesome, and so I can attend meetings on the go, sitting right here. It's easy. And I recommend this product. You guys got to give this a try. I want you to try GoToMeeting free today. Go to the App Store on Android Market, download the free app, start joining GoToMeeting sessions from anywhere. and you can host your own meetings with a free 30-day trial. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button. Again, GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and then use a promo code podcast on the page when you're there, and that will guarantee that you get that free 30-day trial, and we get credit for that for you doing so. So thanks for giving Citrix GoToMeeting a try, and we want to thank them for being a sponsor here. Okay, let's get back into the tech content. Just talking about the Warner Brothers library deal. Moving on here. U.S. Senator wants details on how MasterCard and Visa are going to be using your customer data. Senator Jay Rockefeller, Democrat, West Virginia, sought information letters Thursday to Visa CEO Joseph Sanders and MasterCard CEO Ajay Banga. And basically, they're saying the privacy protection afforded to Americans in today's commercial marketplace are already inadequate. Mr. Rockefeller said in a release, plans to combine customers' purchase data with other personal data, such as information from social networks, credit bureaus, search engines, insurance claims, and even DNA databanks for the purpose of targeted behavioral advertising are unprecedented and alarming. DNA databanks? Well, you guys already know my story about when we had our last child. I've talked about that in this show many times. And for those of you that are new, we bought a pregnancy kit with cash and never gave anybody any information online that basically we were pregnant again. And when we went to the hospital to have the official check done and get prenatal vitamins and all that stuff, we got it within a week. We got a mailing from Parenting Magazine. Congratulations, Cochran family, on your pending new arrival. And we were basically hadn't had children in a number of years. So someone sold our data. It is true. We don't have any privacy anymore. If they're using our credit card data, it makes you want to use cash more, right? Of course, they're outlawing you using cash in Tennessee to buy anything secondhand. So, what else can we do there? All right. BitTorrent Netflix dominates America's internet traffic. New data published by Canadian broadband management company Sandvine reveals on average day, Netflix and BitTorrent are responsible for 40% of all internet traffic in North America. During peak hours, Netflix accounts for a third of all download traffic, while BitTorrent is credited for nearly half of all upload traffic during the busiest times of the day. And they basically have a list here: BitTorrent, HTTP, Netflix, Skype, SSL, Facebook, PP Stream, YouTube, Xbox Live. Talks about those are the top 9. Toretto, whatever that is the 10th one for at least North American traffic source, Sandvine. And then Peak is almost the same list. But anyway, I'll have this up in the show notes for you to check out. But a lot of video moving. A lot, and it's only going to grow more. Hey, this next article, I want to share this with you. Then I'm going to play an audio call that came into the show. I'm kind of mixing this up. I want to play this along with this article. But Time Warner has continued to see a slide in its video subscribers, but it's trying to make up for those losses by betting more heavily on broadband. And Thursday's third quarter earnings call, the cable provider executives continue to talk up its high-speed data as a key differentiator. They're basically saying Time Warner added 89,000 high-speed data subscribers. I was one of those because I jumped up to their highest level. Actually, it was finally offered here. And the company saw 128,000 video subscribers bounce. It actually added single-play high-speed data speed subscribers. So that's kind of interesting here. They're shifting. And they say they're competing good against DSL services, and their turbo mode is selling well, making up 20% of their total broadband high-speed data subscribers. I've got their super duper whooper broadband or whatever it's called. But cord cutting continues to happen here in the TV market. So what I want to do is I've got a voice. I got a call from Brian. You guys know Brian, right? He's called into the show several times. And he's going to talk about our friends at Time Warner. And this is about signature service. I thought I would just share this in this part of the show. It's always, I'm going to have a little fun with the show here in the near future about breaking some stuff up. And I want you guys to listen to this. This is a good one. I love it when Brian calls in. And those of you that didn't stay to this part of the show, sorry. But in those of you that jumped to the end, I guess you missed it, but you don't know, right? Okay, we'll remind him at the end of the show. All right, here comes the call, and it's about 5 minutes, so it's a little long, but it's a good one.
Hey, Todd. Brian in Brooklyn here. If you get a chance, check out the PBS NewsHour for tonight.
Okay.
What's today? 10:27. Yeah, they got a good segment on streaming video. There was a Washington Post tech reporter who, she said some interesting things. And then there was this fella from a outfit called streamingmedia.com. I don't know what they're all about, but he almost sounded like he was working for the cable industry. He was saying things like, there's too much choice with streaming video, that it's fragmented. And I thought, well, if you equate too much choice with fragmentation, then I guess you can mark me down as a proponent of fragmentation. Yeah, I like fragmentation when it comes to streaming video.
Me too.
Anyway, I would have liked to heard your take on that. Listen to this. What do you think this lady is selling?
With a level of personal attention and professional expertise that is unmatched, you'll have a dedicated specialist who will tailor everything just right for you.
Really?
And who is on call day or night.
Sounds like an escort service, right?
Yeah, sure does.
Maybe like that one in D.C. that Elliot Spitzer was using. One of those high-end services. Well, you'd be wrong. She's selling cable TV. Yep. She's selling Time Warner Cable's exclusive service.
Ooh.
I don't think I heard you talk about
I'm
this.
getting the shivers.
Time Warner Cable signature service.
Oh.
It's a high-end package of both products and service. Think of it like the triple play on steroids.
But there's another service side of it, right? People can call a special hotline.
In all fairness, it sounds like a pretty good deal. I mean, if you're the type of person that wants to spend $200 a month on cable, internet, and phone, they give you, 2 or 3 cable boxes, a few DVRs. We only have one TV. I hardly watch any of that. In fact, the only reason I got cable TV was for my wife. And we got mobile phones. We got a good, cheap VoIP phone service. But this signature service, it does offer one nice thing, I have to admit, that I don't have. And that is the promise to show up on time for their appointments.
Installation times will be better and more advantaged, and you'll get a very knowledgeable person who knows.
You remember about 6 months ago or so, you told us about that guy in Brooklyn who took out some full-page ads in a couple local papers, bashing Time Warner for blowing his appointments.
Yep.
And then you remember the time I called you about my experience with Time Warner blowing off my appointment?
I sure did.
I played that follow-up phone call with the customer service rep.
Yep.
Well, this signature service claims to have special technicians and phone support to make sure your appointments are on time.
Make you wait.
There is a different pool of installers and phone representatives dedicated solely and only to Signature Home.
Ooh.
Doesn't this kind of sound like a acknowledgement that the appointments and service is unreliable for regular customers?
It is.
Customers who don't live in schwanky $10 million Park Avenue penthouse apartments. Do you really think they hired new people just to take care of these signature customers? Or maybe they just took some resources out of the existing pool, further degrading service and support for customers of the non-luxury services. You got to see the commercial. They're showing you the inside of this luxury high-rise condo. There's this model-looking chick drawing a bath, and this James Bond-looking day trader kind of dude is pouring wine so they can get all cozy with the DVR. This signature service, though, it's certain to get you laid. Pretty good business model, though, if you think about it. Make all your service suck, and then you can charge the luxury market a lot more for special premium service that does what the normal service is supposed to do. Tell you, give me an idea to fix the debt problem. You neglect all the highways, let the traffic jams pile up all over the place, And then you charge a premium for the luxury market to drive in the HOV lanes.
Isn't
all
that
the
already happening?
Jaguars and Mercedes. You know, it's the one sector that's doing really well right now is luxury goods. I don't know, maybe those Occupy Wall Street people got a point. I'd be curious to see if this signature service is available in, say, Buffalo or some similar working class city. I doubt it. All right, aloha.
You know, I consider myself I consider myself a 53%er. 53% of the people that pay taxes for the 47% that don't. I won't go any farther than that. Brian, great call as always. That signature service sounds pretty good. I think I would have to have my wife at home when the signature service representative came. What do? They send someone that is, like that voice over the phone that was selling that service. Is that who comes and does that service call? You may have to have a camera on in the house to make sure that, proof that nothing was happening. You were being a good boy. It really makes you wonder, because we've all been at that, okay, sir, we're going to be at your house at between 12 and 5, and you have to be there. If you're not there, we're going to charge you that $100 for that service call if you're not at your house. And then they aren't there from 12 to 5, and they go, oh, I'm sorry, can we reschedule for 3 days later? And, for the working guy, that's half a day's pay. It's like, boss, I got to take half a day off tomorrow again because the cable guy didn't come. Well, that's all right, son. You go ahead and take a half day off. And when you, the next day you come in, empty your desk because you don't have a job no more. I think that's all about cutting the cable. I think that's what's really motivating so many people to do the, to cut the cable and cut the cord and walk away from these fools. Boy. That signature service sounds really good, Brian. It really does. Okay. Boy, I got so much stuff in the stack. I'm never going to get through it today. I was long-winded earlier. Have you guys been on Google Plus? I got an email from someone that's a fan of the show. Says he hates it. It's too much management of circles. It's all about, you have to have a little bit of a voyeur thing going on to be on Google Plus. What I like about Google Plus is being able to, these people, I don't know some of these people, but there's all these cool circles of people that are talking and sharing, and that's what I like. But the Google Plus traffic was up in October over last month, not by much, but a little bit. So that's good news. I'm spending a lot more time there than I am on Facebook still. Hey, found a really cool, the iPhone continues to shake up all kinds of sectors. And one thing I wanted to show you is a prototype camera. And this is another example, as the folks over at GigaOM say. And I have, for some reason, got a lot of GigaOM stuff tonight. An example, iPhone is changing everything. And you can look at this. This is pretty cool. And it looks like a regular camera, but when you're done, you pop your phone out. And I guess it's just a concept, but we'll see where this goes. There's a lot of devices like that, but this is the first one I've seen that was, for a better word, real sexy and slick. The New York, I got this actually from a Google Plus listener, and I wanted to talk about it in the show tonight instead of really carrying it at the very end. The New York Times R&D lab has built a tool that explores the life stories explores the life that stories take in the social space, and they built some amazing tracking tools. And I'll have this link up in the show notes, but they are really digging in deep to see what happens when something goes up and how it's reacted and cross-talked and shared, and how it moves out from farther circles and how it got there and the path the article take. This is pretty cool stuff. Tools trained around the social science-based concept of cascade, in a case, a chain of events that propel a story through and around social networks. And Project Cascade, and that's the working title of this thing, lets you visualize a cascade as comprehensive unit, allows viewers to zoom in on a particular event to see key points and how a story's sharing activity is unfolded. Its side view demonstrates a relative simple timeline of a story's activity. Its radar view demonstrates the separation between the conversation and its 3D view, essentially marries the tool. This is awesome stuff. I mean, this to me, if I could have this in the podcasting space, and to see how podcasting is affecting different things, they've got a winner here. The Times could sell this and use this as a service for other companies. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll have this link up in the show notes. Those of you that are stats junkies and like to see how social metrics work, you definitely want to check this out. And I found the article that I got linked to was at neimanlab.org. And this is just awesome stuff. It really is. Hey, there's the battery that needs to be replaced. It's beeping at me. If you live in San Francisco, don't worry. A judge has said that an ordinance that an industry trade group was fighting is basically been struck down. It says that there does not have to be given a warning that cell phones cause brain cancer. And so they basically said there was no science behind it, so a judge has struck that down. Moving on here, there's if you use SmugMug, their pricing has fallen further. So they've dropped their storage fees to 14 cents a gig per month from 14 cents a gig a month to 0.125 gig per month. And that's cheaper than Amazon S3. And then downloading from the vault to your computer is now just at 12 cents a gig, not 16 cents a gig, which is still pretty good. Smug vaults can hold up to 3 gigs apiece. And so we'll see what this is. But, we've used Amazon S3 a lot, but it's this is pretty cool pricing here. It's getting aggressive, and maybe Amazon S3 will respond and come down on their price as well. The FCC today approved a sweeping overhaul of the nation's Universal Service Fund, and we knew this was coming. The USF currently subsidizes traditional phone service in rural areas, but the plan proposed several weeks ago has been approved to gradually phase out the intercarrier compensation scheme, and the U.S. bill now is going to inject money into rural areas that, and in order to try to get at least a minimum of 4 megabits per second served to unserviced areas. I think this is fantastic for those that live in rural America. You've got a lot of challenges in the countryside where many people live, and if they live out in the boonies, it's very hard to get internet. So I'm glad to see this happen. So it's going to be a gradual changeover, I think, because they're saying that the bill would leave some network providers unable to pay their bills, which is interesting. I didn't think they were allowed to pay their bills with this money. So it's allowing companies to charge their customers a new recovery mechanism. So in other words, you're going to have to pay up to 50 cents a month to make up the revenue they're losing due to the loss of the ICC fee. So if you still have a landline, the fee on that's going to go up 50 cents, okay? Potentially. Good article on BusinessInsider.com talking about Groupon. And boy, Groupon has really done a bad job in their post-IPO announcement timeframe, and people are really saying they're worried about this initial public offering, that they think that it doesn't smell good, and so it doesn't bode well for Groupon. And the darling that was going to be this huge initial public offering is now turned into quite the stinky offering. So we'll see what happens here, but they revised their earning estimates, and it just doesn't look good. So, of course, most of us can't get on IPOs anyway, but good write-up by Business Insider. Over on Business Week, Samsung has beat Apple to become the world's number one smartphone sales. Samsung has shipped 27.8 million smartphones in the last quarter, taking 23.8% of the market. So that compares to Apple's 17.1 million shipments, comprising of 14.6% of the market. So Samsung is now the leader of the pack in shipping mobile devices. Sprint is reported to be near a deal with Clearwire for a new long-term pact to may extend their relationship, which is good. We'll skip that one because we're running out of time. Nintendo has announced its first annual loss in 30 years on yen. So they have basically the net loss may be up to 20 billion yen or $264 million for the year ending in March. So this is compared to a $264 million profit the year before. So this is due to weaker demand, the earthquake, and everything else that happened in Japan. So a big time loss here by Nintendo. Hey, the folks at Redbox, it's not going to cost you $1 no more. It's going to cost you $1.20 starting October 31st if you want to rent a new release DVD. So this is probably in direct relation to the impact that Netflix has had on less people having a Netflix anymore. And so they're raising the price to $1.20. Still, I think a good deal. They've got a full breakdown of how the price increase works, second day rental and all that stuff. So anyway, I have the link up in the show notes for you to check out. But anyway, this is a price change to a Redbox starting at the end of the month. Our good friends or good idiots, or no, we shouldn't say good friends, but the idiots over at Right Haven of Las Vegas have been hit with an order to pay $119,488 in attorney fees and costs in its failed lawsuit against former federal prosecutor Tom and DeBice. So this is another amount of money they owe. So these guys are toast. They're going to continue to have to pay lawyers lots of money for their stupidity. In the UK, if you play music in your store, you got to pay the right to do so. But a hardware store has been fighting off a collection agency that's demanding a license fee, and they play no music in the store. And they finally got some national press. Now the folks are backing off, but the guy had to hire a lawyer to really make him aware that what he wasn't doing and why he wouldn't pay. So kind of interesting there. Hey, HP is expected to announce an ARM-based server next month. So this could be a big deal if they're going to be offering up enterprise-level servers running on ARM-based servers. That could definitely impact Intel's bottom line. We'll see where this goes. Intel seemed not to be very concerned. They said that the ARM architecture still had a few hurdles to jump before it was ready for the server game. We'll see how that goes over with the HP announcement later this month. AMD had $1.6 billion in revenue, income of $97 million, so the margins were pretty narrow, but at least they stayed profitable. If you are a Boxy fan, the Boxy update to the iPad app to version 1.2 has added Spotify support. So if you're a Spotify user, you'll be able to do that. And of course, I've been watching what's been going on really on the space side as well, because the NASA Mars rover Curiosity is gaining some cool scientific projects to it. They're almost ready to go here with this rover. So I have a link up to an article that was on Engadget about that. A couple of articles that were over on GNC that you're going to want to pay attention to. Of course, I told you earlier in the show that the newest version of the Gadget Professor was out there. We'll definitely want you to check out Don Bain's show. He's basically talking about the Guardian Technologies H45 ultrasonic humidifier. And this is a pretty cool. I don't need a humidifier here, but I know many of you are starting to go into the fall season in the lower 48. It's going to dry out. You're going to start getting static electricity buildup in your house. You're definitely going to want to check this humidifier out. Thanks, Don, for that. Jeffrey Powers is a writer at Geek News Central. Of course, he also does the Geekazine podcast at geekazine.com. Jeffrey is also a musician and a good one in his own right. And he did a write-up for those of you that are guitar players or electric guitar players, talking about it's called Jam Up. It's a new app for the iPhone and iPad, and it basically allows you to have multiple effects, and there's a little device that goes along with it as well. So I'll have a link up in the show notes for that. And thanks, Jeffrey, for putting that article up. Finally, I want to talk about Ford for just a second here. Ford has added in-flight entertainment on some flights. Ford and GoGo add in-flight entertainment. So basically now, if you're on a flight that's powered by GoGo, you're basically going to be able to play around with a Mustang customizer. And they've got a cool app there. You're going to be able to access Facebook as well. But this Mustang customizer is going to allow you to design your own Mustang colors, interior, all the stuff that you have underneath the hood. So if you're a bored petrol head and you want to play with this special promotion has started and will end on 18 November 2011. And I don't know what Ford's going to show me when I go out to Dearborn. They haven't said. So we will see what they have to offer up for us there. Hey, if you lock yourself out of your Facebook account, Facebook's going to be offering up a new service where you can identify 5 people that can vouch for you to get your account unlocked. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you, but that's something that's being offered up. Skipping a couple articles here because we're almost out of time. The Apple's ALAC codec is now open source, so that's a big move here. The Apple lossless audio codec sources are available under the Apache license, and this is available. This is according to the Mac OS Forge. So very cool that they made this now open source. So I wonder if this is an attempt by Apple to get more market share of that particular audio codec. A couple last articles here quick before we get into the email so I can get you guys out of here on time. That German satellite, yes, it came down, didn't get any big play, but it landed in the Bay of Bengal, so you don't have to worry about that falling through your roof. And there's a cool thing on Gizmo, and this is probably what we're going to close the show on tonight for actual content. You guys know Hal, right? Well, if you want an Iris 9000, it's going to let you control Siri from across the room. Got to get me one of these. Of course, I don't have Siri, but I will. And this is pretty awesome. It really is. So watch the video. This is it's just one of those geek things you just got to have. And let me go ahead here and bounce real quick into the email that came into the show, and we'll get everybody out of here. So let's see. Your last show was on, what's the date? Today is the 27th. The last show was on the 24th. So let me go down to the 24th. I've read this one. I've read that one. Read this one. Okay, so got an email here from Richard. Basically, yeah, Richard said the new format on the video was working fine with iTunes. Thanks for feedback on that. Got an email from Marvin. He said, hey, Todd, a few shows ago you glowed about Google and circles. I just don't get why they did not allow an optional linkage to be able to use my hard-entered labels for my contacts to seed the circles. I am not going to do the work twice. Circles is far less capable than labels to group my contacts. Circles is too much work and limits me to only contacts reachable by circles. Bad design. Marvin in Michigan. I don't know if I necessarily agree. I don't have my contacts and stuff tied to circles, and I know some do. I got an email here from Trucker Tom talking about rogue website bill hit and introduced the United States House. I have that link up in the show notes. Thanks for Trucker Tom for that. Talking about iRobot is becoming a reality as a man gets a smartphone built into his artificial arm. This is a cool one from Trucker Tom. Thanks for that. And finally, one from Trucker Tom as well. Scottish iPhone users are lost in translation because Siri can't understand the Scottish accent. So that's kind of interesting. But sorry for those of you that live in Scotland, that's for sure. I got an email here from Ray. He says he's the one that linked me to the New York Times R&D Project Cascade. I want to thank Ray for that. I want to thank Janet for telling me about basically linking me up to the bill in Congress trying to basically shut down social media websites. And this is basically talking about the legislation that's going through right now. And an email from Jason. He says, cloud commuting is the biggest issue. All companies need IT support. The cloud offers them an easy solution. Outside of the cloud, anything G+. He didn't put a link up. Cloud commuting is the biggest issue. What was the subject on this? He didn't send me a link. Jason, send me a link next time so I have some context of what you're referring to here. Got an email from Marie, and she says that remind me about the HP. Chief says PC division will remain online. So that's it for tonight. Hope you had fun with the show. I had fun producing it for you. Off to Michigan to see dear mom and my grandfather. Going to be seeing him. He's in a care home. We'll be stopping to see him on Monday. And then back to Dearborn and Detroit area on Tuesday. Got lots to share with you. Reminder, I will not be with you, I think, for the Monday and Thursday show next week. We'll probably have a guest host. So if there isn't, I'll put something up. I'll let you know one way or the other. But thanks for being patient. And, every once in a while, I need just a little bit of time away from the mic to kind of recharge the batteries. And these trips like this, where I have a very busy week, is kind of my way to do that. And you guys know that I never take a break from the show. I'm always here with you, throughout the entire year. And so when I get a chance to kind of take a little step back once in a while, it really helps me. And I appreciate those that are going to step in and do the show. It is appreciated. And I hope that you have fun with the guest host and don't beat them up too bad. But keep your comments coming to geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, call the voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. And we'll see you in about a week. All right? And everyone take care until next time. Aloha.